Hey everybody, welcome back to Out of the Ordinary with Jay. And I've got a special guest today. His name's Sergeant Genthe, and he's got an incredible story to tell related to Afghanistan and Joe Biden and the military and all kinds of stuff. So what branch were you in? What branch of the military are you?
I started off in regular Army, and I ended up in National Guard with the Arizona Infantry.
Okay, and then is it appropriate to ask like rank or position or anything like that, or is that okay?
No, that's fine.
Okay,
absolutely. I was a sergeant in the 158 Infantry.
Okay, and then I know you're distinguished in a number of ways, but I know you got a Purple Heart. At least I read that.
Yes, I got a Purple Heart. Couple injuries happened prior in my career. In Somalia, I got injured over in Somalia, and in Battle of Mogadishu, which is a whole big thing.
Wow.
Helped me grow up. As I was such a kid back then. I was 23 years old, and yeah.
So I want to say it's like of course, thank you for your service, and I truly mean that. But I feel like I don't know what to say, because I feel like that's like a throwaway line that people just say and just don't mean it. Kind of like, hey, how you doing? And they don't care. But I'm really appreciative of anyone that serves. Like my father was in Vietnam, and tons of us either don't have the balls to do it or the skills to do it or are willing to do it. And it's really precious few, the percentage of Americans that actually go and serve, it's tiny, man. So thanks. And I think that's amazing. And I don't know how else to say it and be sincere, but I'm trying to be,
I owe it all to my mom. I wasn't a smart kid in school, and I was an athlete, and I put sports in front of all my homework and everything else. And
see, I think that's smart. No, just kidding. Yeah. Anyway, I got you. Anyway,
I actually I failed social studies my senior year, so I wanted to get a scholarship, but I would have got it if I would have stayed at the high school I was at, but I followed a girl to a smaller high school.
That'll do it.
That didn't work out. It was like not even a week it lasted or whatever. But because I failed and I didn't get the scholarships I wanted, my mom's like, Brian, you're going to the Army. That's just, there's no if anyone. You're not going to be with me. Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
I really haven't told that story to pretty much anyone. I just, it's always been my...
Yeah.
I've wanted to. Dad was in the service. Uncle was in the service. Grandpa was in the service. So.
I just know most of us will never have any idea what it's like to serve, what it's like to sacrifice in the way that you guys do. And, you just have such a totally different perspective on the world probably than, I never saw anything like that. Anyway.
Yeah. So I once again, I has just a blessed life. I went in because, I was held back in third grade or something like that. I graduated in '89. Most kids my age graduated in '88. So in '89, when I graduated, I went into service. First thing that happened, as soon as I was a parachute rigger. I got to Fort Bragg. Operation Just Cause happened. That's where we went to Panama to capture Noriega. So I just missed that. All 82nd went out, right? Okay. But I was there for it and stuff like that. But
did you say parachute?
Yeah, I was a parachute rigger, so I packed parachutes for the airborne troops.
Oh, okay.
So there's two kinds of hair. There's the halos, which you see everyone jumping out, and they pull the ripcord, and then there's the combat, which is a round chute, has a static line on it, and we jump anywhere between 700 to 1,000 feet, and automatically pulls your parachute, and you go to the ground. It's a hard landing. Ooh, it's hard. Yeah. But so in '91, I went to Desert Storm, so I was over there for the first Desert Storm.
Okay, yeah, that's.
And then '93 was when, a lot of things. That's when I was with the 10th Force Group as a rigger in Fort Carson, but they were looking for 10th Trans was looking for NCOs, non-commissioned officers or sergeants, to be truck commanders and go to Somalia. And I'm like, okay, I'll go. So I went to Somalia.
Was that kind of your attitude overall? Is I'll go?
Oh, absolutely. You volunteer for everything.
So you got whatever opportunity came, you're like, I'm in.
That's so how I would explain it, right? So people about the military, right? What you do is you get a job and you train for that job, and you want to do that job. So why would I want to do a job and then
never use your
never
skills,
used it, never
right.
get a chance, the opportunity to use it. So I had the opportunity to do it at a young age of 23, 3 times. So
Right.
it was amazing. But
I get that. That makes sense.
so one of the things though, I kind of become, I'm going to use your outlet right now to kind of, I like to set the record straight. So, everything about Somalia was about Ranger this, Ranger that, right? I was a 23-year-old kid going over to Afghanistan, right? I get back.
Yeah, 23 is pretty young, man.
Oh, yeah. So I couldn't explain I come from Lincoln, Nebraska, right? So I couldn't explain what it was like to shoot someone or be shot at, right? No one could understand it because it's never happened before. We had Desert Storm, but that happened so fast, right? So I would say, I was over there, and were you a Ranger? I'm like, well, no, I was a support unit. Well, they didn't want to talk to me. So I kind of flipped over and said, I was with the Rangers. I was with the Rangers. And I said that for years and years and years and years and years, telling this big lie about, because I was scared. I was 23 years old, scared, but I wanted to get my story out there, but no one wanted to listen, right? So, about 5 years ago, I finally came through, and I said, hey, look, I was there. I got shot. I was there. I saw it all. I did everything that they did, but I wasn't one of the Rangers. And, I'm good with that now. I don't care if anyone else isn't fine with that, but I'm good with that now because it's the truth. But I was, I was still there.
I think more than, I've met a couple other service people that fell into that too, including I don't know about my own father, but I'm pretty sure he was like a helicopter. He was a helicopter mechanic. This is very patriotic music. I like it.
That's the University of Nebraska fight song.
That too. But I think he was a helicopter mechanic. And that's sort of like the guys behind the scenes. They're not getting all the notoriety per se, but
but it's still scary. Like when
oh my gosh,
indirect fire comes in. Artillery, mortars, it's scary. It's serious crap.
Oh yeah, my dad definitely had PTSD and all that stuff. If he was laying in his recliner, and he fell asleep, you couldn't just walk over and touch me, freak out. You know what I mean? Because he was in a war zone. Anyway.
Absolutely, that's what it is.
Yep. So real quick, for everybody watching, he's done real interviews on real TV. I've seen him on Fox News and stuff like that with real TV networks, professional journalists. I'm none of those things. So my apologies right up front because I'm not a professional, but I
would rather have these questions than some of them. I was on Fox and Friends, and they try to trap me about make it all political. So it was.
I saw that, by the way.
I was there to promote Aman, this interpreter that I helped get out of Afghanistan. And it's about his journey, but yet they wanted to, Biden this and this, and I'm like, hey, whoa, what's real back in, and let's concentrate on Aman.
Yeah, and I thought you and Aman both handled the interviews like those expertly, because you could tell they were trying to hit you with a gotcha move, and you were you're like, nah, I just want to tell his story, and I'm sticking to it. And I thought it was brilliant and well done because they were trying, but you were clever. So. Anyways, extra thanks for taking this interview because I'm not a professional, but anyways.
But you're doing it. People need to know.
Yeah, I do your story. When I heard it, I was like, this is really super important and interesting. So what do you wish people knew about service and those serving before we get into this?
It's our job. That's our job. We wanted to do it. I mean, it was an all volunteer army. We all went in there with the recruiter and we all said, yes, I want to do this. And yes, I want to do that. And that's what we did. That's what we wanted to do. We all wanted to do something big, something bigger than ourselves.
That's done for sure. So let's get into the story a little bit here. I'm going to paraphrase it based on what I've seen and what I've read.
Absolutely.
I read it on the Wall Street Journal. I saw it on Fox News, but I'm just going to say it and then you correct this afterwards. Okay. I think the premise is in 2021, there was an Afghan interpreter who had helped rescue then Senator Joe Biden in 2008. When his helicopter had made an emergency landing in Afghanistan because of a snowstorm. And basically, you're a combat veteran who helped basically rescue this guy over a decade later. Does that kind of sound right?
Yeah, I was I like to think I ran the outside teams that were protecting the helicopters. So 2 helicopters went down, forced out of the snow, ended up being Biden, Hagel, and Kerry.
Oh, so you were part of that too back in 2008.
No, absolutely. I got plenty of pictures
Oh.
to show you also, but I can show you that.
Whoa.
So
Okay, I didn't know if you were. I didn't know involved in that. I thought you were just involved in the 2021, like helping to get this guy out.
no, he was our interpreter we used to get him out. So it was
So we got way back.
We got like an hour notice and like, hey, we need to spool up there. Well, here's the funny story. So, Colonel, I won't say his last name, who was our commander of 82nd Airborne. We were with 158 Infantry underneath 82nd. He was like, Senator McCain's helicopter went down. So we'd all get excited because we were in the Arizona National Guard, and we wanted to go out there and get him.
Yep.
We come out there, we come down to the sign, we see it, and it ended up being Biden, Hagel, and Kerry. Well, later, I asked him, I'm like, why? Why did you say it was McCain? He goes, because 2 weeks earlier, Kerry at the UN gave a speech about how the National Guard was a waste of resources. And he didn't think that we'd want to go out and get him.
Wow. Would it have made any difference?
No, we wouldn't. But, he just wanted to make sure. And it gave us a little bit more fire. I mean, because there was a snowstorm in Staff Sergeant McCain. McCain, yeah. So was literally walking in front of the Humvees on the pass through the snow to get through this one backside of the mountain to come over the ridge to where the helicopters were.
So their helicopters went down as a precaution because the snow was so bad they couldn't fly anymore?
Yes,
was that it?
Yes.
It would have been too treacherous to be flying, and so they came down with those 3 major political figures. They sat down in Afghanistan.
Absolutely. So
wow, that's wild.
Here's something, it's not a conspiracy theory or anything else, but it's a thought-provoking thing, right? So Obama hadn't chosen. So this was February of 2007. So Obama was the Democratic candidate.
Yeah.
He hadn't picked his cabinet yet, right? But the 3 most powerful people in the world, Biden, who ended up being the vice president, Kerry, who ended up being Secretary of State, and Hagel being the defense secretary, were all in the same helicopter at the same time, flying in Afghanistan.
Wow, that's wild.
It's wild.
I mean, those are really powerful people. So, like, this whole thing, when I heard it or when I was reading about this, I was like, this whole thing is just so wild to me because it's like, I mean, it was real life for you, but like for me, it's like, it looks like those covert ops you see in the movies, like a secret mission and all this stuff. And I'm like, absolutely. It's crazy. But now, were you doing these? I think I heard in there, one of the interviews, were you doing this in 2021 when you, so this interpreter that helps get Biden and Hagel and Kerry out, he's been working with you guys for like 10 years or something like that, but then he gets left behind in the Afghanistan withdrawal in 2021? Yes,
absolutely.
And that's kind of where you step in. Are you a civilian at this point?
No, so I'm a civilian. So
we're at 2021. You're a civilian.
Well, actually, it's 2020. So let's back up just a little bit. So what happened was, we really didn't know about it, but we did know there was 2 vehicles on the back of our convoy.
Okay.
We didn't know anything about them. We just know that as soon as we got the package, they got into those vehicles and they took, so we rebought out 16 vehicles, and 8 of the vehicles all went with to escort these 2 other vehicles back. Well, those other vehicles were Eric Prince, Blackwater.
Oh, yeah.
So for years, we've always seen these conversations where Eric Prince was like, you know what, we're the ones who saved Biden. No. Yes, he was in your vehicle, but we're the ones that led. It was our element. It was our that was our thing, right? So we fought back and forth a couple times. Well, Dion from the Wall Street Journal did this article about how Eric Prince did it. So I contacted Dion. I'm like, no, that's not how it happened. Well, so he did all this research and wrote this article. And at the end of the article, because I told him about our interpreter we used. We had one interpreter. He was on the other side. I got pictures of it, stuff like that. Like, he goes, so the Arizona National Guard, as they received him, but the interpreter that they used who helped save him is still over there. Why did you leave him over there? He wrote that in the Wall Street Journal
Oh man.
in 2000. So 2 days later, I get a call from the State Department.
Yeah, I'm wondering how come you get involved in this? Okay,
Yes,
so you
the
get a call from the State Department. Okay.
And they're like, well, how are you going to get him out? Who out? Your interpreter. I'm like, I don't know. I'm a civilian. I don't know.
What are you talking about?
I don't know what you're doing. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. I don't know what to do. So I'm like, okay, I'll start doing some research. And so I and on the backside, Amon was part of. So we had this.
Amon's the guy who was left behind. He's the translator.
He's the translator. So we had this group chat with everyone that was over in Afghanistan, and we had our interpreters, Ralphie and Wally and Amon was over in it, but he kept spamming us like, "Hey, I'm over here still. Can you guys help us out? I'm over here." And no one really took it for serious, right?
Yep.
And so I'm like, okay, well, that was kind of my starting point of, okay, well, I found out, well, they worked for the United States government, but they were private contractors. And so I had to call the private contractors. And of course, the private contractors, M3, lost all records. So that's when I get a call from the State Department, and they're like, "How are you going? What are you going to do?" So
then you were tasked with, "Hey, this guy was left behind. Let's get him out."
Absolutely.
That is crazy. So it's like, and it took like 13 years between, right, to get him out, or no?
No, it took 3 months.
3 months to get him out.
So I did it all off of this phone right here in WhatsApp because it's secure.
No way.
That's how I got it. So I make contacts here, contacts there, and
hold on, dude. So I just want to make sure I got this right. There's an interpreter, an Afghan interpreter of Afghani descent.
Yes.
He's there. He's helping Biden, Kerry, and Hagel to get out. He gets left behind in the Afghanistan withdrawal.
Yeah.
And you save him and get him out of the country essentially with your phone and people helping you with your phone.
Yeah. So
that is wild.
So there was a guy named Sean Klozik, who I wish me and him were friends again. Once the Ukrainian kind of stepped up, he kind of lost touch of him and stuff like that. But he was the one who had connections, right? He was burning bridges. He was writing Kirsten Cinema. He was writing all kinds of people, right, saying, You're letting this man die. Why are you letting him do this? I mean, he was going to bat for me, and Sean wasn't part of it, right? Sean was part of our company. But he was in a different platoon in a different part of the thing. But Sean he did so much to get me the right connections, right? I finally got in touch with a guy in Wounded Warriors who had a connection with the guy with Humans First, and literally the guy out of the blue called me and said, "Hey, we need to get him out. What do you want me to do?" What do you mean you want me to do? Well, at the time, I had 3 different people giving me three different advice, right? I had one guy who was working with CIA, one guy who was working with when Glenn Beck was getting people out, the freedom flights.
Yeah, something like that.
And then Safi with Human First was getting people out. All these 3 people were, right? And all 3 of them was working with me. And I was trying to figure out which was the best one for them. We had to take them out. Deal. We put them into a safe house, and then from a safe house, we took them up to Mazar-e Sharif where...
give me the whole route here, or basically the way you remember, because from what I understand, it took quite some time, and he was moving from safe house to
safe house to safe house to safe house.
Crazy, and he had to dress a certain way and not keep certain things, and right? I mean,
yeah. So
it's like a crazy deal.
When I finally went with Safi and we got him down to Helmand Province, there was a checkpoint. I got the picture of the checkpoint, the aerial view. It's just a building about like this big, and then there's desert. 100 miles this way, 100 miles that way.
Building in the middle of the desert.
They could have walked around it if they wanted to, but they went through the checkpoint, right? And it took forever. But he literally left everything except for paperwork at that point, and that's when he started his new life and when he crossed over.
Wow. Yeah, I think I read in one of the articles that like he was on a bus or something, and like Taliban got on the bus and
5, 6, 7, 8 times, and every time we do it, he was on.
That's crazy. Like
he was texting me on the other side, and the whole time when he was on the bus and stuff, I had caught COVID and I was in the hospital.
Right, this is all happening during COVID on top of it.
Happening.
Yeah.
So I was actually at Honor Health in a hospital bed for 32 days, texting him, "Hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to trust me. Hey, you're going to meet this person here." His code name was Lima. So anytime we said a little package Lima or Lima was doing something, I was doing this from this phone in a hospital bed.
He could have been caught so many times.
So many times.
I mean, when I think of like the trust he had to have put in you,
100%.
I mean, it was everything, right? I mean, he had to trust you
because there were times where he didn't want to do something. I'm like, no, you know, I got very, very not mad, but I'm like, you have to, you stop being stupid and listen to me and just do it. Like it took him 3 days to get across the border because he went there once and then he got split with because the girls had to go through a certain exit and they had to go through and they thought they weren't going to get linked back up together, so they backed out. And the next day they got to it, and they didn't happen. And then I'm like, you know what? Stop it! Stop being just do it. And you know,
well, yeah, you know what this kind of reminds me of too, because like you know, they've rescued some journalists, you know, that have been captured for a long time by Russia and stuff recently.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like this thing, you know, and it took like 3 months to get him out or whatever. You know, the thing that was like I was really heartened for, and like you know, it's pretty easy to like get bummed about America here and there, and you know, everything's of course not perfect and stuff. But I was like, you know what? I'm like, you know, America's people like you and people that helped you get this guy out. And all along the way, you guys could have very easily given up. It would have been so easy to just, you know what? He's not listening to me anymore, or any number of reasons to like be done with it. And like it just makes me feel good that like you know, like to know that like I don't know, my country or the people won't give up.
No,
in that fact, there was in one of the sort of the gotcha lines that I feel like they tried to hit you with, they say somewhere in there, how close was Amon and his family to being left behind in enemy lines forever? And your answer was, you said, not very close, because I was going to do whatever it took. Lots of people wanted to help.
Absolutely. So he was.
I mean, that is awesome.
He was at the gate on September 1st when the bomb went off that killed the 12 Marines or 8 Marines. He was at the gate. He could have left that day but they're like, he wanted to bring his family, and the family, he had a passport, but his family didn't. So he chose to stay behind for his family. And that was another, I'm like, you need to get on that. You need to get to the gate. You need to do the, you know, and then he didn't, because he forgot to tell me that his family didn't have so I'm like, oh, great. This changes everything.
Mega wrinkle.
No, all right, let's find you a safe house and we'll work it from there.
Wow.
The State Department the whole time's working with me on the back, you know, side. I had my handler, and I'm like, the only thing I said is, you know what? I'm going to get him out, and I have one request, is that when I get him out, that they have his paperwork and his SIV ready for him. Special invitation visa, special immigration visa ready for him when they get wherever they get to.
Wow.
And then I'm like, and I was literally working with Anthony Blinken's chief of staff.
Wow.
I have a whole slew of text messages and calls from me and her back and forth and back and forth.
That's crazy. That's the other thing too, is that it made me think about is like there's just like an operation like this, like it's so very, very complex just to get one guy and his family out. Like the number of touches and the number of things that have to go just so, and the organization behind it it's incredible.
The hardest thing about this whole thing was that, okay, it was Biden's. We're the ones who say Biden. So he was the president at the time.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a single Republican that wanted to reach out and help me. I wrote every single Republican I can imagine. Hey, can you help? Can you help? Can you help? No one. It was the Democrat. It was.
That's awful.
Who just won Senate seat?
Here, Mark Kelly.
No, the other one. The gentleman.
Oh, Rubio.
Yeah, Rubio Gallego.
Yeah, Ruben Gallego. That's it. Yeah.
He reached out. I physically talked to him on the phone.
And he's a veteran himself.
Yes, I physically talked to him on the phone. I physically, because of Sean, once again, 100% thanks to Sean, I was able to talk to him. I was able to talk to a senator out of Massachusetts, because Sean was from Massachusetts. I was talk to a senator from Senator Ross from New York, all Democrats, all really wanting that. Let me help you. Let me do what I can.
Wow. I will say that now that part of it is very disheartening.
No, absolutely.
Because like that's a person's real life. It's your real job. And I think like that's one of the things I think that bums a lot of us out, just a lot of Americans out. I know it bums me out too, is when it's like, you know, it becomes political about one guy or like one party. And it's like, but you're like, you know, you guys are doing the real work. There's a real human being on the other side of that. You know what I mean? And lots of people in between. Like, and now one bozo that doesn't want to say something or doesn't want to help could put a monkey wrench in the whole thing. I think that's just ridiculous.
That absolutely was.
I mean, oh my gosh, that must be crazy. Do you have anything else you want to say about that, about the story before I like move on? I got a couple other things here, but is there anything else that we kind of missed in there? I mean, anybody?
So once again, the Afghans were under this impression, and we were over there for 20 years, right? That America is, you know, everything's free and you know, it's great here. Well, Ahmad now lives over at. There's drugs going on. You know, he has this horrible life, and he's still. So he has 3 daughters, 2 boys, all living in a 2-bedroom house. I mean, condo.
Yeah.
Not a condo, apartment.
So
in the ghetto.
Is he grateful or is he?
Oh, he's so grateful. I mean, you know, there's other issues now. His son's over there, and his son got let, but his son never worked for America, so guilt tripped him. So now he's having survivor's remorse. Where
I'm sure,
but he can't go over because he's a very, very, very wanted man over in Afghanistan. So he can't go back. I mean, under any circumstances whatsoever.
Right. That's wild. So, boy, what a perspective putter all of this is, because like he's grateful to be living in a ghetto in, you know, Phoenix. That, you know, most people.
He came from a huge house in Afghanistan. They were very. It was, once again, they passed down family houses, right? So his house has been with his family 200 years plus.
So he's just grateful to have made it.
Absolutely, 100%. And you know, he will never say anything other than that. But you know, I do listen to him say, you know, it sucks here. I mean, it's expensive here. It's about, you know, insurances. They don't have insurance over there. Medical. They don't have medical over there.
Right.
You know, they pay for food. And that's about it, you know. And here, everything
has a cost, right?
Has a cost.
That is wild. Does it give you? I would think, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but does it give you like I would feel like if I did what you did, or I was involved in anything like that in any way, like I would have such great pride, and like it'd be incredibly satisfying to know that I helped a man and his whole family in like such a profound way. And like, do you ever feel that?
Because like to know that to me, someone like me did that, right? It's I guess it's not about. It's about, okay, now I have I have a certain set of skills now,
right,
and now I haven't used that certain set of skills since,
right,
and I miss that adrenaline. I miss that high of making those decisions and finding the next thing. And I miss that.
Right. I mean, it's, I guess like my perspective is I'm thinking like, and I know it's all relative, but like, I feel like very few people that I know or that will ever do something that's that important or that consequential. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I suppose, you know, I mean,
yeah, it's important to me because I'm still telling stories about it, right? I'm still, you know, it's still relevant in my mind. But you know, people's moved on now, and now it's you know, the next phase in life's happening now again. You know, once Ukraine hit, everything in Afghanistan, there was an individual that wanted me to get out, and every single asset I had at the time just dried up just overnight once Ukraine dried up, and I wasn't able to get them out.
You mean once Ukraine became, the war started there, all your assets were...
Everything. Just got diverted. Yep, absolutely.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I was thinking, like, this whole situation is about as serious as it gets, and I can tell when I watched Aman's interview on the news channels, like even after he was freed and got out, like, how it's affected him, you can just see it in his face, you know what I mean? But on a less serious side, have you narrowed it down to which actor you want to play you in a movie?
Yes.
Who are we going with?
So Oz from American Pie.
Okay, that'd be good. Oz from American Pie. I like that.
What's his name?
I don't remember his name, but I know who he is.
Yeah.
but on a serious note, you were thinking of writing a book about this experience or something like that?
Yeah. So once again, I my whole life I've just been part of. I've been blessed, and um, what happened? And I mean, yes, we saved Biden, but we went over as an infantry platoon, and we kind of a lot of things happened where we were small, and they tried to put us in an area in Afghanistan that they didn't think anything was going to happen, right? Because we weren't a full platoon. I mean, we were supplemented with our sister unit out of Hawaii, so we had a bunch of Hawaiians with us. But ended up being that year is that was the second where everything happened. So Respecto happened there. All the stuff that we every time we went out, we got hit. And
What do you mean? Every time you went out, you got hit? What does that mean?
so we were we were either fired upon, shot at, mortared, and here's the thing: a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, we were rah rah rah," right? Joe Bird Dog, the individual that sold all that stuff to WikiLeaks, right? All the stuff that he sold was during our time frame. So if you go back to WikiLeaks and you look up Jumpmaster elements, you look up Task Force Gladius, Task Force Cincinnatus, that's all us. That's all us. And every time we called in a TIC, troops in contact, it was documented on there. So it was documented on WikiLeaks. Even the Joe Biden.
Man, that's creepy.
Even the Joe Biden, when we saved him, right? It's in WikiLeaks. You can actually look up Task Force Gladius, Jumpmaster elements. That was us. It's all documented right then and there.
Wow, that's wild. All right, Brian. Well, thanks for what is an incredible interview and an incredible story, and I look forward to seeing your movie and your book someday.
So yeah, someday.
Thanks, brother.
Absolutely.